This is Planetary Ops, and this is the week in review for the 7 days ending Monday, the 17th of August. Coming up, a magnitude 7.4 earthquake in Colombia, 33 tornado warnings in the United States, and 5 orbital launches. Over the last week, the board tracked 10 significant events across earthquakes, severe weather, tropical cyclones, and space weather. That is a busier week than the last, up about 100%. Here is what mattered. On Monday the 10th, a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck San Jose del Palmar, Colombia. It was 107 kilometers down, deep enough that the shaking spreads further but arrives weaker. A quake this size is large enough to be destructive anywhere near the epicenter. That puts it among the 3 largest of the past 30 days. The epicenter sits on the northern Andes, where the Nazca and Caribbean plates both press against the South American plate. Set against the magnitude 7.7 earlier in the week, this one released about 2.8 times less energy. The magnitude scale is logarithmic, so a step of 1 is not a small difference. Expect aftershocks. A rupture this size typically produces a sequence that runs for weeks, with the largest aftershock usually about 1 magnitude below the main shock. The USGS put its pager impact alert at red, the top of the scale, reserved for events expected to need international assistance. About 6.4 million people were exposed to very strong shaking or worse. Pager most likely estimate was 100 to 1,000 fatalities. Though these are modeled ranges rather than counts, the confirmed toll takes days. For scale, a magnitude 6.1 in the same area on January 25, 1999, killed 1,900 people. In the United States, the Weather Service issued 33 tornado warnings on Tuesday the 11th, covering Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio, and 6 other states. A tornado warning is not a forecast. It means rotation has been seen on radar or on the ground, and it covers minutes, not hours. Warning counts are a measure of how much of the country was under threat, not of how many tornadoes touched down. Confirmation takes days of ground survey. The Storm Prediction Center logged 12 tornado reports that day across 3 states, against 33 warnings. Most warned storms never put a tornado down. The strongest was rated EF2. The pattern came back on Thursday the 13th. Another 11 tornado warnings, this time over Utah, Iowa, and Nebraska. The Storm Prediction Center logged 1 tornado report that day across 1 state, against 11 warnings. Most warned storms never put a tornado down. On Friday the 14th, a magnitude 7.7 earthquake struck Indonesia. It was a shallow 10 kilometers down, which is the depth range that does the most damage at the surface. A quake this size is large enough to be destructive anywhere near the epicenter. That makes it the largest earthquake the board has logged anywhere in the last 30 days. The epicenter sits on the Sunda Arc, where the Australian plate dives beneath Indonesia, the most seismically productive stretch of subduction zone on the planet. Aftershocks there will run for weeks as well. The USGS put its pager impact alert at yellow, the tier that means a local or regional response is likely to be needed. About 1.1 million people were exposed to very strong shaking or worse. Pager most likely estimate was 10 to 100 fatalities. Though these are modeled ranges rather than counts, the confirmed toll takes days. For scale, a magnitude 7.7 in the same area on December 12, 1992, killed 2,519 people. On Saturday the 15th, a magnitude 6.9 earthquake struck Pematang, Indonesia. It was 183 kilometers down, deep enough that the shaking spreads further but arrives weaker. A quake this size is strong enough to damage poorly built structures. The epicenter sits on the same Sunda Arc. Set against the magnitude 7.7 earlier in the week, this one released roughly 20 times less energy. The USGS put its pager impact alert at green, the level that means little or no expected damage. Casualties were expected to be low. The pattern came back on Sunday the 16th. Another 14 tornado warnings, this time over Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. The Storm Prediction Center logged no confirmed tornado reports that day, which is the gap worth understanding. Warnings cover rotation that radar can see, and most of it never puts a tornado on the ground. On the pads, 7 orbital missions flew this week from 4 launch sites. From Wencheng, China, 2 flights. China Sat-4B and Satnet LEO Group 24. From Tanegashima, Japan, Mitsubishi 7QZS7. From Cape Canaveral, Florida, 2 flights. Starlink Group 10-19 and Globalstar 2R Mission 1. From Vandenberg, California, 2 flights. Starlink Group 17-49 and USSF 366. 2 of those were Starlink batches, routine now, which is itself the story. Orbital launch has become a scheduled logistics run rather than an event. By the numbers, 9 earthquake events, 7 severe weather events, and 1 launch event. The busiest day was Tuesday the 11th, with 36 logged alerts. Across the whole week, the board logged 103 alerts, an average of about 15 a day. Most of those never reach this episode. The bar for a segment is set well above the bar for a ticker line, and that is deliberate. Step back from the individual events for a moment. 6 of the week's larger earthquakes were on the same structure, the Sunda Arc, where the Australian plate dives beneath Indonesia, the most seismically productive stretch of subduction zone on the planet. That is not a coincidence, and it is not a swarm. A plate boundary that long is releasing strain along its whole length all of the time, and a busy week is what normal looks like there. The week's largest, a magnitude 7.7, ranks first out of 44 the board has logged in the last 30 days. The severe weather was not spread evenly either. 33 of the week's tornado warnings came on Tuesday the 11th alone. Severe weather runs on single afternoons when the atmosphere lines up, not on a weekly average. Looking ahead, the aftershock sequence near Indonesia will run for weeks, and the first days carry most of the risk of a large one. All of it is on the live board as it happens. The board runs live, around the clock, earthquakes, storms, launches, and space weather as they happen. If you want to watch it develop rather than hear about it a week late, the stream is linked below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.